Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Player1 Sim Gear GT3 Championship here at MotorMotion E-Series. And we continue our run through Season 3. It is time for Round 5, and we have an exciting race today because we're at Spa-Francorchamps. We're here in Stavelot in Belgium at one of the most legendary circuits in all of motorsport, the Formula 1, the Intercontinental GT Challenge, to name a few. 104 years of history at this legendary circuit. Bringing you all the broadcasting today, it is going to be TrackSpot TV. My name is George Cook, leading you through today's broadcasting, and joining me for both the lobbies is going to be Andrew Scott. Welcome in, Andrew. Great to have you here. And Spa, what a place to go racing.
Yeah, g'day, George. G'day, viewers. And yes, indeed, what a place. What a legendary, beautiful circuit this is. And it's hugely technical too, George. We'll talk about that a bit later. But, you know, the real elite drivers do start to stand out at a circuit like this because there are so many opportunities for you to lose and gain time depending on your technique. And, yeah, I'm excited to see what will happen today.
Going to be good. So here's the calendar up on your screens right now. Of course, 50-minute race in both Group A and Group B today at Spa. And that'll finish off the first half of the season. And then we'll barrel rapidly into the second half of the season, into Lagos, then Watkins Glen, Daytona, Autopolis, and of course the season finale at Mount Panorama. Really looking forward to that. Let's take a look at what today is going to have in store for us. 50 minutes of racing, as we said before, late morning, and all racing tyres are permitted, but you must use the racing hard tyres. They are mandatory today for the race. No surprise there. Tuning prohibited as always, and drivers will be allowed to adjust the brake bias. The weather today, not looking too great. It's a little bit cloudy out there. It's chilly, so it's going to be a C04 preset weather with variable time ×1 in the early of morning. So this is going to be cold. It's going to be difficult for the drivers out there. A quick refresher on the current standings, and it looks like Mad Turtle Racing still potentially ahead of Hoon Corp Esports, Gridline Racing, Black Rose Racing, Aster, Hasel1, Lightning Motorsports, and CP Motorsports. It's going to be a good race out there. We have in Group A a little bit of a switch up at the top in terms of the qualifying results. As I recall, it is Gopin Mahindajit that is on pole position, followed by Guy Barbara and Andrew Scott, who is joining us in the commentary box today. So I think it is time for us to jump out there on track. Let's get this racing going. Group A is going to be fire. Here we go, ready to get started, and it is actually Guy Barbara on pole position, not Gopin Mahindajit, so a little bit of a correction there from us on this side. And Guy Barbara going to be starting on the hard tyres today. We're just about to go racing, rolling start, and there we go. We are away, and we're going to have some interesting cameras today, we've been told by our broadcast. He's got some very special things lined up for us, though. Through a Rouge, For the first time, you can see the power of the Nissan starting to make up some progress on Guy Barbara. But we know the Supra has got some serious legs to it, so keep an eye here. He'll probably be able to pull away. Matt McCullum putting some really good pressure from the pro category on his rival Matthew Jointson, and it looks like it's going to be an overtake potentially into Lecom for the first time. No, it's not. He backs out. And Aster Racing's RCZ does maintain his position. These two are leading at the moment in the pro category. Great to see it. And Luke Stone right in there in the Supra for this part of the competition. So we've got 3 elite drivers followed by 3 pro drivers on the grid at the moment. Just behind them, Nick Pfaff qualifying well out of that top 5. Nick Pautasso with him for Mad Turtle Racing as we barrel through No Name Corner and the Malmedy section coming up towards Pouin. What a great section of racing this is. Racing hard tyres still for Guy Barbara. And boy, oh boy, he's got a real challenge here. Gautam Mahinajit wants to make this overtake as soon as possible and hopefully build a gap to stay out ahead of him. Otherwise, he's going to be in all sorts of trouble as that Supra stretches its leg down the 2 big straights that we have here.
Yeah, the track does suit itself to the Supra today, so Guy Barbara's in the box seat here. He is actually starting on hards, though. He's got 2 medium runners at least behind him, so he's doing really well here just to maintain the lead on lap 1. Pulling a bit of a shifty there to start on the hards. Not expected when you're on pole position, but Gopi here is all over the back of him, which he should be, being on the medium tyre. He's going to have to try and make a move here and get past him if he's going to have any chance of beating Guy today.
Indeed, right. Yep. So we'll keep an eye on Gautam Mahinajit, who is putting that pressure on Guy Barbara at the top of this race. Looks like Ando has just slightly moved off the back as we do see Luke Stone in the background there trying to make a move on Jointson and McCallum. Some nice defense there by Guy Barbara through the final chicane, bus stop chicane, and down through the timing line. That's where the actual race will finish. Of course, you start round the corner of La Source, and into La Source we go right now. One of the most famous corners here. This whole section, this whole sector 1, incredibly famous. Oh, that's Guy Barbara getting very loose on the exit. He's actually kept that together somehow, but he got right onto the curb, sent the car sideways, and the racing hard tires not looking great right now. And here we go, up the hill and onto the Kemmel Straight. And this is going to be it. And Gautam Mahinajit gets a wonderful run through there. He'll be side by side almost immediately. And he's going to use that side slip beautifully. The medium tyres, Ando, doing him massive favors at the moment. This could be the overtake for the lead of the race.
Yeah, that was all about the exit of La Source there. Gopi got much better traction, which you would expect. And they go side by side now, coming down to Bruxelles coming up. This is not over yet. What driving from the 2 guys. Looks like Gopi's got the move done, has he? Yes, dives in there. Covers off the apex, shuts the door. Beautiful move by Gopi there. What a sequence of corners there, Jeff. That was amazing.
Absolutely right. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that as we head through now towards Pouin. And this is a big one for Gautam Mahinajit. Wants to make a bit of a statement here in this race against Twitchy, who's been really, really dominant in the last couple of rounds so far. Andrew Scott, of course, just doing his usual thing, I think, aren't you? You're just hanging back there. You're just hanging out, just waiting for either mistakes and executing your strategy to that number.
Yeah, I'm looking at fuel and tyre. I'm my numbers. Unfortunately, don't have the raw outright pace of the 2 guys in front of me, but I will hopefully try and make some gains there as the tyres.
Exactly right. The Aster Racing guys currently battling it out at the moment. Jointson versus Pfaff, and a little bit of contact there between them. Nick Pautasso wants to get involved here, and 2 Mad Turtle Racing cars sitting here in out of position, really, 8th and 9th. Leading the championship, and they've had consistent results all the way through. Racing hard tyres for Jointson, so he's in a situation where he's going to potentially be falling back in this field depending on what the others have ended up choosing. Nick Pautasso right on the rear wing of Matthew Jointson. There'll be a defensive maneuver by Matthew Jointson into the bus stop chicane. Nick Pfaff has been let ahead at the moment as we go on board with Glenn Mead to see his perspective of this, and looks like Nick Pautasso has made that move down the inside of Matthew Jointson. Nice move there, but the cars are so squiggly. They are really struggling with grip in these very, very cold conditions out there on track. 3.7 meters per second, the wind coming in from a westerly direction at the moment. And now it's going to be on Glenn Mead. Can he make a charge? Can he make an attack on Matthew Jointson through the Kemmel Straight? This is going to be his opportunity to do so. Water Arrow in behind for Hasel1, also wanting to be part of the gang here. Doesn't want to miss out on the party. Once you lose slipstream at a track like this, it really is all over.
Yeah, slipstream is so crucial down here, George. Down the Kemmel Straight is where you benefit the most But also notably, we've got a couple of usual front runners, i.e. Spud, Nick Patasso, starting down the field, and we're just seeing now how crucial it is to get a good quali position, because he's now corked up behind two corks in the bottle, two hard-running Aster racers. So he's on the softer medium tyre. He's having his strategy compromised here right now, George.
Yeah, exactly right. And Water Arrow as well, just really in there wanting to be part of this battle. Glenn Mead is on an interesting strategy right now. We'll keep an eye on what he's able to do throughout the race, but certainly Nick Pautasso not escaping from Matthew Joynson at this stage of the race. Nick Pfaff right ahead of them, really starting to put the pedal down, so to speak, and he's built a wonderful gap and gotten away from this pack. A little bit of a scrape of the gravel on the inside line of Pouon as we head through this wonderful double left-hander. Great part of the track and into the Fargnese chicanes. And of course, we will keep an eye. But looks like Glenn Mead is going to be attacking Matthew Joynson sooner rather than later. Nick Pautasso has finally found a little bit of extra performance here and is finding his way. Just build that gap ever so slightly. Critical for him to escape now because Nick Pfaff is gone.
Yeah, it looks like, actually, I might have to correct myself. I think Nick is also on the hards. So all these cars here are on the hard tyres. That was just Nick's raw pace there, wanting to shine. And he wants to get through. He knows that he needs to be lapping faster than this. So he's now cleared those drivers. And judging by his reputation, I'd say he's now going to clear out from them and make strides towards the front of the field.
Certainly could do. Luke Stone has found his way up into third position. He's on the racing soft tyres at the beginning of this race and nearly held the fastest lap for a few moments there on lap 2, but Gautam Mahindra now has that honours to his name running on the racing mediums, and does look like the Hooncorp guys are going to be working together. Guy Parborough playing the long game at the start though, so he's on the racing hard tyres, held off Gopi for as long as he possibly could. But this is going to be a long-term strategy in Guy Borough's mind, and a different strategy between the two guys at Hooncorp Esports.
Yeah, they're very different strategies. It looks like Luke Stone here is elected for the soft tyre, so he's effectively committed to a two-stop in this race, and the pit stop is excruciatingly long here, so I'm not sure that's the optimal strategy, especially seeing that he's only on level pegging with his teammate who's running hards. So he's a bit out of position here, I'd say, Luke Stone right now, and we saw there his tyre wear was already starting to show. So he's going to have to stop twice, I'd say, in this race.
Yeah, that's right. It's a tricky decision, but the overall engineering strategy that I think works best at Spa is to limit the number of pit stops that you do in this race. It's just such a horrendously long way to barrel through essentially what is at this 24-hour layout a 2 pit lanes distance. You have to drive a long way to get to your pit box, and then even then the outlap or the exit of the pit lane is also rather excruciating as well. Automated, of course, by GT7 engine, but yeah, it is one of those things. Reducing the number of pit stops you can do at this race, you might lose some positions, Ando, but you just accept it and play the numbers, and suddenly at the end of the race you'll find yourself making positions by default.
Yeah, and the one-stop strategy does end up having track position at the end of the race versus two-stoppers as well. The two-stoppers generally will come out on track behind, and they'll have to make some overtakes to make their strategy work. And that's not easy to do if your tyres are wearing. So, yeah, I agree with you, George. The one-stop strategy was probably the optimal one today. And, yeah, Luke Stone still could execute that, but you have to go long on the hards. That's the problem. But I tell you what, we've got an overtake here. Scotty there in the GTR gets a much better exit onto the Blanchimont Straight and cruises past Spark there in the Porsche.
Very nice. Easy maneuver there for the 37. On the medium tyre as well. Not sure what Spark's on currently. Might be on a hard tyre. Certainly didn't get the exit he needed out of Stavlos. Oh, we do see Water Arrow, Riley Nicholson, trying to take the opportunity to get past the Black Rose Racing Porsche as well, and actually sent it from about 3 miles back onto the Porsche. It didn't work out for him. That's the nature of it, the bus stop chicane. You send it too hard, and all the other driver has to do is drive around the outside and hold the inside line for the next part of the chicane. So another opportunity probably coming up for Riley Nicholson in short order, but he's got Chris Faripapa right behind him in P13, airborne in 14th at the moment in this race, and some distance back, I will admit, as well. But these racing hard tyres on the M6, the BMW, actually not looking too bad at the moment.
No, the wear is really not a problem on hard tyres for anyone. But yeah, they're gripping up nicely for him. He got a good exit out of La Source there, so he could be able to make some moves here. We see here, interestingly, George, up the front of the field again, we've got Gopi clearing out. So he's making his choice of medium tyre to start the race sort of work here. And he's got a decent gap on Guy. He might be taking the fight to him today, George.
Yeah, it might well be. We shall keep an eye. Go from Hindert will be probably running the mediums and then the hards. If he's doing the one-stop strategy, it'd probably be in line with what Guy Barber is doing. But Guy Barber opting to be faster later on in this race, possibly hoping that as the time evolves at this circuit, that the track will heat up and he'll have better pace in the medium towards the end of the race. That might be what he's thinking today. And I wouldn't say that that's a bad strategy at the end of the day. If you're hoping for slightly warmer weather at Spa, you're rolling a dice. Let's just put it that way. But it could work.
Yeah, I think Guy's just been a little bit shifty there, and he's decided to start on hards from pole position, hopefully hold up his main rival, which was Gopi, which he did do for a lap or so there. And I think he's just trusting his pace on the hards too. I'm behind him now, and well behind him, and I'm having a little bit of an FML moment here as I realise that Twitchy is not exactly running away from me. So I'm realising that he's on hards, I'm on mediums, and I can't even stay with the guy. So his hard pace is obviously off the charts, and he's going to go long on them now and hope to come back at Gopi in the back half of the race.
Oh, very deep there into the bus stop chicane for Nick Pautasso. And he's picked himself up a penalty as well. So 0.5 second penalty. It's not going to help Nick Pautasso in his cause to get further back up the grid today. Riley Nicholson and Spark still in this battle. Great to see. And they're barreling now down towards the first corner. La Source, pace at the moment in the 22s. So you can just compare this to Guy Barber. It's the rest of the field on hards, looking at somewhere above the 20s, whereas Guy Barber, oh, a little moment there for Riley Nicholson, does get it back into the straight line, puts the power down. Everyone else doing 20s and Guy Barber in the 19s. And yeah, a solid realization from everyone on the grid. Just when they thought, oh, maybe there's a vulnerability, maybe there's a little chink in the armor here from Guy Barber. And nope, unfortunately not. He's on the hards and on the same pace as his teammate, Luke Stone, who's on the soft tire and also at the same pace as one of the faster guys on the grid, yourself, Ando, on the medium. So it just goes to show it's not necessarily just the tires, it's just the raw talent and skill this guy has in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. The car's suited to the track, so Guy with a Supra at Spa is definitely a formidable opponent to be dealing with. And his lap times there are just ridiculous when it comes to hard pace. So it just goes to show, I was talking about it pre-show, the technicality of this track really is really huge. If you can get it right, you can be quick, but if you get it sort of wrong there, as we saw with those beautiful camera shots there at the bus stop there, we saw a few different interpretations on how to take that sequence of corners, didn't we? And there is a right way and a wrong way there, that's for sure. But if you get it wrong here, George, at any of these sequences, as we come down to Stavelot here through Malmedy, Lafreniere, you know, if you get any of these sequence of corners wrong, you're just losing time, hand over fist. So you've got to get every single apex. You've got those bollards at each apex to aim at. Get right on the curbs on exit. Use all the track at every corner and maximise your pace onto these long straights as we look at the Blanchimont straight now, leading up to the bus stop. Just so crucial to be so precise and accurate here.
And that's where it becomes difficult because we're over 2 minutes and, well, approximately 18 seconds, 2 minutes and 18 seconds a lap at the very least. And so it's a long track to circumnavigate. And with the level of precision required, that's why it's one of the legendary circuits. Oh dear, that is Matthew Joynson running over the sausage curb. He's completely messed up the braking zone into the bus stop chicane. That's Clem Mead going right on through. Will Scotty be able to take advantage of it? We'll keep an eye as we flick through some cameras. We'll keep an eye ahead and see if he's able to make this move on Matthew Joynson. Medium tyres, of course, for Scotty. He did actually have his indicator on for some period of time, so maybe some button remapping required there. So down we go towards the Eau Rouge section, and not enough pace at the moment for Scott Taylor. He will find some legs through here as they're racing hard for Matthew Joynson, not doing him any favours right now, and that's going to be an easy overtake. Look at that, Nissan power, and he's through, and it's done.
Wow, what a huge run that was. I think Joynson might have just mucked up the Eau Rouge Radion section there, and he might have had to lift there, whereas Scotty just takes it flat to the floor on the hards, on the mediums, and cruises past him down the Kemmel Straight.
Yeah, easy as you like. I mean, those are the overtakes of dreams. You're not going to fight that? Oh, no, you can't fight that because I'm just ahead already. Always very, very satisfying, especially if you get mixed conditions at Spa. That's when things really do get fun. You've got some drivers going, oh, it's wet, but yeah, I'll risk the slick tyres. And then you just got to be a bit careful as the wet runners, because you will fly past them at Rouge. They're all tiptoeing around there, and you just go, well, I can still be full flat out or near flat out through the Eau Rouge section. And most of these cars will be in GT7. You know, it's not particularly difficult to be flat out through that section, but the entry is what matters. Got to get that little left-hand kink and then really bring the car in. You got to feel the grip as you head towards the right-hand side, because that is key. If you don't late apex that right-hand sector, you're going to be getting a penalty and crossing the line at the top of the hill.
Yeah, the elite drivers do it in their sleep. They've got the muscle memory. They just get through there flat. No, not even thinking of lifting. But, you know, sometimes the lesser drivers on hard tyres especially, they might have a little moment on entry. As you said, the entry there, the bottom section of Rouge, is critical. As you come up the top to the Raidillon section, you either have to lift or you're going to cop a penalty or you're going to run wide and spin it. So, the lesser of those three evils is to obviously lift at Raidillon, but that really does compromise your speed then down the rest of the Kemmel Straight. And Scotty just showed us that he got past Joinson quite easily well before the braking marker.
And then, of course, if you're picking up penalties, you'll be serving those on the Kemmel Straight, so it's just adding to the pain. Luke Stone in third on the soft tyres, which are nearly gone at this stage. He's only made it 8 laps, and he's got a 0.5-second penalty to his name as we cycle through the field, the two Mad Turtle drivers. In 7th and 8th at the moment, Nick Pautasso also picking up that penalty. That's let the likes of Nick Pfaff really escape from this. Joinson, with that mistake, has put him down in P10 and actually being backed up now into this battle. So Scotty has made his way past and up into P9 by the looks of it. This is Riley Nicholson. We're going to go on board for a little bit of a look. So give you an idea of what it's like for the drivers going through this Lecombe section. Brake hard at the 100-meter board. Get it slowed down, trail brake through as you get the angle just right. You want to cut the curve ever so slightly here and then swing it back to the left-hand side. Little loss of traction there for the BMW driver. Able to get the car back into line, and a nice run there as we head towards Malmedy in the downhill section. Very tricky, off camber, downhill, and it's a long corner. It doesn't feel like this one ends.
No, it's very painful on hard tyres too, but you're exactly right, George. It's downhill and off camber, and you've got to be so patient. I like to tell my guys to aim yourself at that last bollard. That's the real apex of that corner, which is a good rule of thumb for the whole track. As the car in front, the Porsche runs wide through Pouon. Water Arrow's got a huge run on him, but he's got nowhere to go, unfortunately. Is he going to make a move here into Fournier? I don't think so. Such a hard section of the track to pass on, George, isn't it?
Oh, it's so difficult. I mean, there's just there's nowhere to go at the exit of Pouon. The only advantage you can have is just try and swing to the inside. That might have been the only option there, is to try and back off and just, as long as you're getting on the accelerator just before your competitor, you can usually swing to the inside and take the outside line into the Fugner chicane. And if you can do that, you've got an opportunity. If not, then you need to back off and be careful, because the punts at Fugners, oh yeah, we've seen it all there, folks. I tell you, everyone goes in there and goes, oh, I'll just brake a little bit deeper here, but your opponent maybe braking that little bit earlier, and then you punt them off and send them into the shadow realm. So it is one of those tricky ones. Here goes Spark on Matthew Joinson. Yes, it is a move down the inside, and he's got it slowed down and ahead. Great overtake. But there we go. Matthew Joinson very skillfully never takes an overtake with a car right behind him and dives into the pits.
that could have ended in tears, couldn't it, George? The last thing Joinson wanted to see there was a competitor diving down his inside as he was planning to pit. So, all's well that ends well, but that really could have ended in disaster, I think.
Yeah, cue the elevator music as well as we watch Matthew Joinson run down to the pits ever so slowly. This is the reality of pit lane stops at Spa-Francorchamps, and hard tyres being changed out on lap 9. Not sure what's going on here, but clearly Joinson not wanting to be on the hard tyres for too long, likely to stopping in this race because, otherwise you'd be wanting to stay on the hard tyres for as long as possible, I would assume. But fuel not a constraint just yet for these drivers. They'll likely get to lap 14, lap 15 with the current fuel on board, maybe even beyond that, actually. But talk to us a little bit about the strategy, Ando.
Yeah, as I was saying before, the one-stop probably is the best strategy, and it looks like you're going to want to look after your fuel a little bit as well. So to make that one-stop strategy work, I think you have to do a little bit of fuel saving. Hards then mediums, or mediums then hards was what the supercomputer I have at my disposal was telling me to do. But there are alternatives, and they're not too far off. So the two-stop where you're running softs is also a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, as long as your pace is good throughout the stint, then it's not a problem. I mean, Luke Stone did have good pace on the softs relative to the pro field, that's for sure. But the penalty that he picked up, obviously hampering that somewhat. So equal fuel at the moment for Twitchy and for Gopi Mahinajit. And you're saving fuel at the moment, which seems to be the sensible thing to do. This is definitely going to extend you right towards the well past the half race distance, and you're on the medium, so you're shortening the hard stint at this stage.
Yeah, I'm trying to do as few laps as possible on the hards, but yeah, I am fuel saving somewhat. But unfortunately, it does cost me in pace, so it might not be the way to go. As we see Luke Stone finally coming into the pits on those dead front tyres, so it'll be interesting to see what he chooses now. Is he going to have to go long on hards, or is he going to do another short soft stint and make it a two-stopper?
Just saw on his timings, he did a 22 and a 29. So he served a penalty. We know that, the 0.5-second penalty, but may well have had an incident somewhere on track because those tires are gone, and just, you know, it would have been very difficult for him not to make a mistake at that point. So Luke Stone in the pits, we'll keep an eye and see where he filters out on track and what his tire choice is going to be for this second stint. We're already at 20 minutes, 21 minutes, or nearly 22 actually, through this. We see Riley Nicholson jump into the pits for Hasel1. Luke Stone getting 100% of fuel. What tyre is he going to choose? We're suspecting another soft tyre. We'll find out once he crosses the timing line at the end of the pit stop. Ahead of him now, Chris Varapapa, Michael Brill, and P12, P11, likely going for longer stops. And it is another set of soft tyres here. So we were absolutely right, or you were absolutely right, Ando, on the call for two-stop strategy here. And he'll have to run the hards at the end, but he's going to make it right to the last 8 minutes or so. Probably pit and do like 3 or 4 laps max.
Yeah, he's taking it to the likes of myself in the lower podium positions. He's really giving that Super a chance of getting there today. But the game has let us down again. It is actually hards that he's on. So he's going to now do 11 laps or so, maybe 12 on hards to finish this race. And did that stint on softs. I think the penalties that he got and the couple of little whoopsies he had might actually end up costing him today. But a very, very interesting strategy from the Supras today. Soft then hard, and that is not one that I thought of. I wonder if Guy Barbera is going to do something similar, George.
He may well. I mean, we're reaching half race distance very soon. He's still got arguably 3 or 4 laps worth of fuel on board. He's not fuel saving like you are out on track, and neither is Gopi Mahinajit. They're both using the fuel, but they can get to the 35 or 36-minute mark on this. They're only going to have 14 minutes to do on their mandatory, Gopi on the mandatory tire for the mediums. The gap he's built is monumental at the moment. He's going to be halfway down the Kemmel Straight as Guy Barbera is coming into Eau Rouge. So this is a really good run that he's had, and it was key for him to get past Guy Barbera right at the start of this race. Only spent 1 lap behind, so Guy Barbera not able to really hinder Gopi Mahinajit at all in terms of the strategy, and it's going to just come down to raw pace as we see, well, maybe a bit of foreshadowing there. Sector 1 purple on worn racing hard tyres for Guy Barbera. So yeah, he's maybe giving us a little bit of an indication of his intentions later in this race.
Yeah, look at the consistency of those lap times too. 19.5s. If I see another 19.5 from this guy, I'm gonna freak out. But that's insane, that consistency. But I tell you what, George, this could come together beautifully for us as viewers, because what we've got up there is Gopi Mahinajit on medium tyres with a really nice healthy gap, but he's going to have to switch to hards. And Guy Barbera here might be doing the Supra one-stop, we'll call it, where he switches onto the softs to finish off the race. So he's going to be coming at Gopi like a spider monkey at the end of the race, and then his tyres might expire on him. And yeah, it could be on for young and old here.
Could be. We could end up with a super soft strategy. 4 S's there for him. We'll see. That's entirely possible. We saw it from Luke Stone, started on the softs, has gone to the hards, and we may well see that there's a little bit more coordination at Hooncorp for this race's strategy than we thought. Nick Pautasso has made it up into P6, still on the racing hard tyres and going strong at the moment. And he'll be a quick contender at the end of this race as well. Nick Pfaff still above him by some margin, a couple of corners, and then there's Glenn Mead and Scott Taylor actually finding themselves on track at the moment. So this will become a little bit of a battle. We'll just scroll up a little bit, see if who's leading pro at the moment. Well, we're going on board at the moment with Scott Taylor. We'll see what kind of progress he's able to make. Matt McCullum is the one who's leading pro category at the moment. So this Ferrari strategy for CP Motorsports, they've had a bit of a resurgence leading up to half race distance. As we do see now, Guy Barbara in the pits, running relatively low on fuel, but probably could have made it another lap there on the hard tires. But clearly he's going for this half-half strategy, 25 minutes on whatever tire is there. I get the feeling that's got to be a medium choice, given he's got to be medium, surely, Ando.
This is riveting stuff. I want to see what he's going to choose here, because the softs, can you imagine what his pace is going to be when he comes out on softs if he does so? But then the mediums for 10 laps could be the better choice. So let's see what happens here.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye. Glenn Mead in the pits as well, 19 litres of fuel off of his racing hard tyres, and we have to wait a little bit longer. I thought it was the pit exit, but I think you've got to wait till you actually rejoin the track for GT7 to actually update the tyre choices. So a little bit different to many other tracks out there in GT7, where essentially you immediately get an update as soon as they get out of the pits. But Spa will be Spa. It's got to be different. It's got to be special. Here we go. Out of the pits we go. For Guy Barbara, what is he going to choose? Is it going to be the mediums? Are we seeing the same strategy maybe from Gopi and himself? In which case it will indeed come down to pure pace alone. So ignore the current tyre selection there. It is soft tyres. Oh, here we go. It's on.
Wow. Look at that. And the Hoon Corp supercomputers obviously come up with a different strategy here. And let's see if it pans out for him. But, you know, he's really going to take it to Gopi now. His pace is going to be absolutely unbelievable. Gopi's now going to switch to the hard tyre to finish off this race, and he's going to watch his time gap just tumble, and he's going to be itching for that timer to run out. I think it's going to run to 22 laps for these guys up the front of the pack today, George. So he's going to really have his hands full. His mirrors are going to be full of Supra come the last couple of laps of this race.
Oh dear, right. Well, Gopi probably not going to be a happy man once he sees that Supra appear in his rearview vision. He's in the pits now, so we keep an eye on where Guy Barbara will end up catching him. There's Ando. You're going for another lap, so you've got a little bit more fuel still on board. Matt McCullum has picked up a penalty. He's run out of fuel. He's been on the same strategy with the racing mediums at the start of this race. But he has used a lot more fuel, so has to come in on lap 12. Nick Pfaff also coming in, racing hard tyres. There we go. Be surprised if we saw Nick Pautasso stay out for too much longer either. Though he does have the fuel for another lap, and he does go for another one. So Nick trying to extend the hard stint for whatever reason. We'll see if it works out for him. Did start well down the grid, but has made his way back up to what was essentially fifth or sixth position. Pfaff in the pits, Scott Taylor in the pits. So this is it, the 28-minute and 30-second mark. Spark also jumping into the pits as well. Low fuel numbers for Nick Pfaff there, using a lot of fuel to try and get that gap between him and Nick Pautasso, a true battle that's been evolving throughout the season between the two. Here we go, Gopi Mahilajit taking 83 litres of fuel. He's extended the stint a little bit there, whereas Guy Barbara has put 100 litres, essentially 98 I think it was actually when he came out of the pits. So a little bit less fuel on board for Gopi, obviously on the hard tyres now. Got to serve those as a mandatory tyre for today's race. Where is Guy Barbara on track, though? That's the question. He's nowhere close at the moment, but in fourth position. I think he's just coming through a rouge right now. Yeah, so there is definitely a tightening of the gap between the two of these guys. And Guy Barbara, now that he's done his out lap, this is his first real hot lap out there in this entire race. What's it going to be? Oh, Matt McCullum still with the penalty. He will serve that. I don't know if he'll serve that immediately. Yeah, he will on this lap. He will serve that immediately on this lap, and has also let Luke Stone, go on through, which is an interesting maneuver. It's a bold strategy.
I think that was just the speed differential for the cars coming out of the pits. He got swooped there by Luke Stone, who was on a hot lap. So that was just the pace differential with the pit exit, mate.
There we go. Okay, that's good to know, because otherwise I was wondering what Matt McCullum's thinking in his head, especially with the penalty. If you've got the ability to stay ahead, then definitely stay ahead. But big difference in speed between the cars when they do come out the pits, and the timing there for Luke Stone working to his advantage. So a couple of good outlaps by him have put him in the box seat for this one. Racing mediums are the choice for Glenn Mead, who's probably not necessarily in contention right now for getting a top result in Pro category, but will still be able to extend his lead in the overall Pro-Am title, where he is still reasonably close. Let's just put it that way. First.
Oh, you never count out Big Bruce the Shark, do you? Like he normally comes back at the back end of races with sometimes novel strategies, but he's just the Thomas the Tank. You know, he can. He just always just produces. He's so consistent, stays out of trouble, and let's just see if he can make inroads for a good result here in his class today.
Yeah, very much been the turtle, ironically, driving for Mad Turtle Racing, but the turtle in the race against the hare, and does seem to win out more often than not. And there you go. Nick Pautasso, his teammate, now also in the pits, 1 liter of fuel on board, so just made it round. You'd be a bit worried when you run on 0 fuel into the pit lane, because it's such a long pit lane, you might run out of fuel during the pit lane. I think the game's pretty lenient with it, though. I don't think it'll slow you down too much. If you're playing another racing platform, you can genuinely run out of fuel in the pit lane, which is, I've seen it before. It's not fun. Ando, you're back out on track now. I don't know what your tyre choice is. I'm imagining it's the hard because you're doing the one-stop strategy, and only 80 litres of fuel on board.
Yeah, I've got my shift points sorted out, so I'm trying to save some time in the pits with my fuel strategy. So that's all I need to get to the end of the race now. And interestingly, we've got Nick here pitting at the same time as me. He's now on the medium, so he's going to now try and catch me. And I'm out in front saying, catch me if you can.
Well, he's actually on the soft tyre. So he is going 18 minutes on the soft tyre here at the end. And yeah, looks like the soft is actually, we're surprised. I didn't expect to see the soft used that much. It has been the obvious choice. Oh dear, the Mad Turtles get it all wrong. Didn't know where they were going. Nick Pautasso realizes at the last moment the overspeed that Glenn Mead had and tries to move to the right-hand side. And unfortunately for Glenn Mead, he's wondered if Nick Pautasso is actually going to be moving out of the way, and then both move to the right-hand side at the same time. Contact between the two, but no damage. That is so lucky not to have damage after that.
Very, very lucky. Clumsy turtles there we saw. And I think you're right, George. They both chose to go to the right at just the wrong time. I think Nick was a little bit having a little nap there as he exited the pits and didn't realize he had another car on a hot lap behind him. And that could have been a disaster for the Turtles team, but they got away with it. A little bit of loss of time for both cars, I think. But no harm, no foul, and they're still there on their way.
Let's get to save some switching later in the race. We're on board with Twitchy, who's set our timing screens purple all the way through. He's already got the fastest lap of this race, a 17.0, which is, by the way, 0.9 of a second faster than Gopi was on the medium tyre. He's now about to come across the line again. What is this going to be? Is it a 16? It is a 16. A 16.991. Wow. He's using the soft tyres to their absolute maximum potential. Still got 17 minutes to go in this race, but at the moment you can see the gap. That is Gopi Mahinagic up there in the front of his windshield. So he's catching at a rapid rate right now. That is going to be terrifying for Gopi Mahinagic, because this man is going to be 2 or 3 seconds faster a lap right now at this stage of the race. And I'm guessing what Guy Barbara's plan is just catch up, get past him, and worry about the tyre life a little bit later on in this race.
Yeah, exactly. But is he going to have any tyres left to make the move? He's, you have a look at the tyre wear there. They're just about at their best, at their optimal now, as he goes purple once again. So he is on fire at the moment. He is coming at him like a spider monkey. And I tell you what, this could get interesting. Can he get past him? Because, you know, the hards are coming good for Gopi now. He's only going to get quicker now towards the end of the race. But Guy is going to get slower. So is he going to have the advantage by the time he catches him? Will he have enough tyre left to make the move?
Yeah, this is the question that we need answering by the end of this race. 3 seconds is the difference in those last laps between the two. So right now, it's inevitable that Guy Barbara will catch up to Gopi Mahinagic. The question is going to be, will he have the tyre life to actually perform the overtake that he needs to do for the lead of the race? Having a look now, you can see the Supra in behind, just making time up. Absolutely every single corner is going to be faster at this stage, and so we'll keep an eye on what is going to happen here. There you go, plus 1 second on his best time through sector 2. It's not looking great for him, but again, as we said, 15 minutes left in this race. It's about 7 or 8 laps to go. We're anticipating a final lap on lap 22, so we may well see these guys having to battle it out literally on the final lap of this race, which would be absolutely fantastic. Both of them, fantastic drivers. Guy from Hinderjit, of course, has been super dominant in the beginning of this season. Guy Barbara, a super sub for Hooncorp Esports after Lewis Atkinson had a crash on his BMX in real life and unfortunately put himself out of contention for doing any driving anytime soon. So they were able to bring in Twitchy to do this amazing job. And yeah, he's really brought the fight to go from Hinderjit, who was so dominant in the first few races. And yeah, Guy, what a sub. What an absolutely crazy sub to bring in. GD World Series driver, it's brilliant. I'm very happy for Hooncorp Esports. They've got such talent there to draw on. Of course, Gopi, probably not as happy about the fact that Twitchy is now on the field.
Indeed, George, and I do believe there's a bit of talk in the paddock from the team owners about the salary cap too, and they're wondering if Hooncorp might have pulled a Swifty there on the salary cap rules for this series. But no, obviously it's a joy to have him in the lobby. Speaking personally, I love having someone of this caliber in a lobby with me. It's anytime you get to race these elite level guys, it's just an honour and a privilege. So. He's been welcomed at MotorMotion, and we hope he stays for a bit longer.
Absolutely right. Yeah, no, we need a new category. We have to run 5 categories for if he comes back for the next GT3 championship. An alien category with 1 person in it. De facto winner of the alien category. 0.5 second penalty there for Scott Taylor. He's got damage on the car, so he's had a big accident somewhere along the track. Finds himself in last position. This is a disaster for Scott Taylor, and it's just not been his season so far in the pro category at all. He's sitting in 4th position at the moment. Pretty close to Matthew Joinson in the overall standings for Pro-Am. But again, it's just things have not swung his way. And whether it's maybe he's not quite gelling with the Nissan, maybe it's been the tracks so far in this season, but for whatever reason, it's not quite worked out for him. In the meantime, Matthew Joinson, who is in 3rd place in the pro standings, currently sitting there, I think, in 3rd place on track as well for the pro category. On the medium tyres and trying to get to the end of this race with just over 12 minutes to go. He's got Glenn Mead ahead of him. That pit stop did put him behind both the Mad Turtle races, and by the looks of it, there are a couple of corners still ahead of him at the moment. So he has got a bunch of work, but those medium tyres looking rather worse for wear at the moment, and it's affecting his pace. 20.7 the last lap there.
Yeah, his tyre wear looks pretty even though, which is always a good sign in an MR car. So they might be good enough to the end. They're probably just past their best now, but if he can keep it straight, no more mistakes, he might be able to come back at these turtles in front of him. Nick Patasso especially, who's on the softs, his tyre wear's pretty good too. Never thought I'd say that, but yeah, his tyre wear's looking okay, but he does have quite a few laps to go. He elected to go super long on the hards there and then switched to softs to finish off the race. So he's on the super strategy too, but his lap time there, an 18.6, quite respectable. He's making gains on the likes of myself and McCallum, and he'll be looking for those lower podium positions and trying to challenge for those at the end of the race.
Exactly right. In the meantime, it's the battle between CP Motorsports and Hooncorp, a battle that has spanned many leagues over many years, and it continues here today with Matt McCullum trying to chase down Luke Stone, who's just coming into the Lecombs at the moment. So keep an eye on this one. I'm not sure what tyre Luke Stone's on now. He started, of course, on the soft tyre, so it must be on the hard for the end of the race. Yes, he is. So basically even Stevens between these two drivers, and it's just going to come down to pure pace out there at the moment. 2:21.2 the last lap there for Luke Stone, 2:21.0. So a small difference. Matt McCullum definitely is faster at the moment. Ferrari, not a bad bit of machinery to be in at all at a circuit like this. But I think the worry for Matt McCullum is going to be overall positions, and with Nick Pfaff chasing him down, it's not going to matter in terms of the pro category finish, overall finish results, but it will matter for the overall results, and yeah, it's still worth a few points. You know, being ahead of a couple of elite level drivers, definitely worth a few points. So Matt McCullum will not want to let Nick Pfaff through, that's for sure. But with the medium tyres and Nick Pfaff's his inherent talent and pace, It's not going to be an easy one. Probably not a battle he really wants to engage in. In the meantime, with the medium tyres and Nick Pfaff, well, he's got to be worrying about what's behind him. Nick Pautasso on a charge, and this will be for 4th in the elite category.
Yeah, Pfaff's coming through here against the 2 guys ahead of him, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Pfaff is an elite driver, but McCallum and Stone both having good races. They're putting a good showing up here today because Luke Stone and McCallum were both taking it towards a particular elite level driver, yours truly maybe, at the end of the first stint there. So Luke Stone actually overtook me, which is understandable because he started on softs. And McCallum, he pitted the same time as me, and he was right on my hammer. So they're both putting a really good showing in today, but it just goes to show strategy is important as well, as Pfaff, who dropped off at the start of the race, is now coming back at them on the medium tyre, and they look pretty fresh too, George. I think he's going to make this move fairly easily at some point here. Let's see if he makes a move down into Le Com here.
Camel straight, will have more grip. Yeah, gets the overspeed already. That's going to be easy as you'd like. Oh, actually tries to duck to the left, but then suddenly decides that he wants to be on the right-hand side of the track. So I don't quite know what that decision-making there was from Pfaff. I think we're hearing he might have wobbled a little bit on the curb, so a little bit of loss of traction maybe has caused him to potentially look like he's starting to the left, but not able to make that overtake in Camel Straight nonetheless. So he'll get him somewhere. It's one of those ones that's more of a when, not if. He does look down the inside, and Matt McCallum does not want to fight that. Does not want to fight Nick Pfaff out on track. It's not worth it for his overall race. He wants to be catching up to Luke Stone, not spending time defending against a driver who's potentially could go up there and slow Luke Stone down. If Luke Stone fights that position at all, it's going to be advantage Matt McCallum. Of course, this top 3 for the pro category, missing Matthew Joynson now after a couple of mistakes and putting his car into the penalties situation a couple of times throughout the race. Unfortunately, that's dropped him out into 4th for the pro category. Glenn Mead instead being the one who's potentially taking a pro level category podium today. Looking back at the top, and it's happened. Wow, we completely missed that on the cameras, and we were focusing on other places. It's already happened, and Guy Barbara has made the move on very worn soft tyres and consistent laps, but unfortunately still too slow for Gopin Mahinajit. And that is it, with only 7.5 minutes left to go in this race. But the question is now, he's made the overtake. Will his tyres last? He's still got to do 3 or 4 laps at Spa. Look at the state of them.
Oh my, oh my. This could prove difficult for even someone like Twitchy to pull off. They're on lap 19. I think they've got 4 laps to go. So Guy Barbara has chosen to spend all of his soft tyres on catching Gopi. And as we see now, Gopi with a good run here on the Supra. He's got hard tyres that are just only coming into their own. Now is a touch on the braking zone, side by side through Le Com. Gopi chooses discretion as the better part of valor right there, but he's all over him like a rash here. Gopi has now become the shark, and Twitchy is now the hunter, George.
Fantastic. A role reversal here. It did look like Twitchy really squeezed Gopi, who's had a very fair overlap into Le Com, but got squeezed by Twitchy. A little bit of contact between the two into the braking zone, and I don't know if that's really affected anything. Probably more of a racing incident than anything, but Twitchy defending hard, knows that if he gets overtaken again, Gopi may well have the pace just to keep ahead of him for the rest of this race. And it's a scary moment for Twitchy. He's rolled the dice with the soft tires and really burned them up. And through this intersection here, he needs to be quick. He needs to be pushing the car as much as possible, despite the risk that it's going to give him for those soft tires expiring before the end of this race. They'll be certainly very, very worn out. And Gopi just needs to be smooth and consistent, but hopefully as fast as possible. He'll have great traction out of a lot of these corners, and at least the grip's consistent for Gopi. It does run a little bit wide there, costs himself a little bit of pace. He has to stay in this slipstream. So after that intersection, he has to stay in the slipstream here to have any chance of staying within shooting distance of Twitchy for the end of this race. But we have a battle for P1 on lap 19.
Yeah, and he's obviously got no idea exactly how bad Guy's tyres are. So Gopi's just sitting there behind him right now, probably quite pleased with himself that he's able to keep up with Twitchy, but he's got no idea that Twitchy's tyres are on the verge of expiring. So Gopi here will make a move at some point, I'm sure. But on the hard tyre, it's it's not much better than a worn soft, really. So it doesn't give you much wriggle room when you're trying to make a move around the outside or a dive up the inside or something like that. So he knows the MotorMotion rules. He's gonna have to make a move, a clean one, if he wants it to stick and stay out of the steward's room. And this has come down to the wire here, hasn't it, George?
Certainly has. We're just keeping an eye here. This is a move that is not really for position at the end of the day. Faf easily passed Luke Stone there, and the battle between Luke Stone and McCallum will continue. Hopefully we can get some camera views of P1, P2. What's happened on the straight between these two top-level drivers for P1 is Gopi still behind, but by how much is the question. Looks like he hasn't really made any progress on the Kemmel straight this time, and that gap is starting to look a little bit worrisome. Beforehand, he was right next to probably about a couple of car lengths tops. Now he's about 4 or 5 car lengths behind Twitchy. So Twitchy is somehow keeping the pace. So that last lap at 2:20 by Gopi Mahinagic. What was Twitchy doing? We'll have a look in a second. But 19.5, so he's still half a second a lap faster. Even with the current state of the tyres, he's going to be running right on the rims by the end of this race, which is so interesting. Because what is his pace actually going to be? Is he going to be still doing 19s? If Gopi can't find some pace now, he is in serious trouble.
Yeah, I mean, his tyres, if there's still a sliver of white on them, he should be okay. But if his front tyres go fully red, especially that front left tyre, the minute it goes fully red, he is going to be a sitting duck. And Gopi's now well on him. They got a good run out of Stavlo. He's gaining on him, I think. But, I think Gopi's realising right now, he's going, I think I'm in with a shot here. I think he's on the softs. I think he's running out of tyre. Those are the sort of things that are probably going through his head right now, and he's not giving up.
What I'm worried about is that the less fuel that Gopi put in the car. Yes, he did a couple more laps than Twitchy out there, but a couple of liters less, he might not be able to fully stretch the legs of that Nissan. That might well hamper him at the end of this race. But from what I saw, they were on pretty decent amounts of fuel, both of them. So shouldn't be any limitations on how much they can use of the engine. Keeping an eye here on Matthew Joinson, trying to get up into brake properly into the top 10. And he's got, of course, Spark right ahead for Black Rose Racing on the medium tyres as well. So pretty even Stevens between these two, but we shall see if there's any action coming out of that. Water Arrow in P12, followed by Chris Fadapapa and Dub Zito rounding out your field at the moment. Scott Taylor will be in there in P15 after what has been a disastrous race for him. So the battles at the moment really going to be Guy Barbara and Twitchy. It looks like a little bit of progress on the straight there for Gopi Mahinagic. They are really abusing those bollards on the inside of the first part of Lecom.
They certainly are, but now Gopi's got the overspeed. He surely has realised that Twitchy is a bit of a sitting duck here, so he's just sizing him up. He's a seasoned professional, Gopi. He'll make his move when it suits him. He's sitting here biding his time. He's just feeling out his opponent, looking for the sections of the track where he's at his weakest. He's still got a lap and a half up his sleeve to make a move here, and I kid you not, guys, he's going to make a move. He's a racer through and through. He's going to have a go. He's going to send it at some point. It's just a matter or a question of where.
Yeah, exactly. There'll be some good opportunities, but look how he's able to now keep up with the Supra through the infield section. So a threshold has been reached at 2:20.4, the last lap from Twitchy. So he's no longer in those 19s that he has been so consistently. Maybe a small mistake somewhere from on that last lap. Onboard shots now. This is overspeed. Here we go. Oh, just runs on that curb on the outside line there. So Gopi not really getting the grip he needs through Blanchimont, but now, Stavlo, but now through the back straight, he will have a lot of overspeed, and he's got the good gap distance as well. This could potentially be a send into the bus stop chicane. Here we go. No, he's quite far back still. It's going to be a monumental send. He's going to try it, though. Oh, my goodness. Nearly gets there, forces Twitchy offline. Will try the switch back. No, stays on the outside line on the exit. Still got plenty of speed on his car, and this is going to be another move, potentially into La Source, is forced to the outside line. Twitchy knows he's got to defend hard here. He's on the inside line, through into the braking zone, and that's going to be a switch back. This could be it for the lead.
Oh, there you go. What a lovely move there. He just went wide for the switchback at the last minute there. Twitchy was covering off the inside line into the source, which he had to do because he had such a compromised exit out of the bus stop. And here we go again. Twitchy somehow manages to stay flat through Radion. He's now got the run on Gopi. Gopi's now defending the inside into Lecom. They're side by side. Here we go. Who's got the bravest brake pedal? Twitchy edges ahead with that super. Look at the power it's got. But he's got nowhere to go. There's marbles out there on the outside. He's got to be careful. They go side by side through Lecom, now down into Bruxelles. We're coming up, and Gopi looks like he might have made that move done. What a segment of racing there, folks. This is top-level stuff as they go down into Bruxelles. Wow, what a move. Well, that was bold. That was bold, Cotton.
Oh my goodness. Guy Barbara knows that he's on tyres that are just not going to elapse. He knows that Gopi's got the speed on him, so it was a last attempt, a last-ditch effort. He threw everything into the corner. There was a space there that Gopi left, and that's a problem there no, that is the finish there from Nick Pfaff, so he has finished the race. So everyone else has finished the race, and we are now doing the final lap with these two guys, and it looks like Gopi has done enough. The medium stint that he did was absolutely brilliant, but the tyre life for Guy Barbara just wasn't enough. If he was on the medium, Ando, that would have been so different. But what a brilliant bit of racing between the two, side by side all the way through the Lecom section. Absolutely brilliant racing by the both of them.
It was indeed, but a bold move there up the inside into Bruxelles, and then Gopi decided pretty late to cover him off, but I think it was just barely legit. He covered him off, but Twitchy still sent it, but he ran deep, and Gopi easily got past him again.
Indeed. Well a race there from Gopi Mahidajit. Here's the last chicane. Just has to navigate this, and the hard tyres at the end held on beautifully. Guy Barbara not able to hold on to that one, but Gopi Mahidajit will be your winner today for round 5, and he's a happy man. Flash of the lights there for him. Where is Twitchy? Has he run out of fuel? No, he's got a penalty. It's all over. His tyres are completely gone. That's completely what we predicted. Just completely gone. So he's running on rims, and that's going to be it. Second place for him, but a bold strategy. Well executed, given the circumstances, but just not enough to hold on. Great racing between the two. And Ando picks up a penalty, a podium, I should say, not a penalty. A podium there for a very consistent result at the end. Great stuff. What a race in Division 1. Fantastic to see both of Gopi Mahidajit and Twitchy all the way through those last few laps, just battling hammer and tong. Really, really great. Tooth and nail stuff between the two. We'll bring up the results for Elite and Pro in a few moments' time. But Ando, give us a little digest. Exciting to see those guys go at it.
Yeah, incredible stuff. And apologies, viewers and drivers down the field there. We missed some of the action there as you finished. But there was just too much going on up at the front. My God, that was outstanding the way that race finished. And I think ultimately, Guy chose the wrong tyre there to finish the race on. But we'll never know. If he had chosen the mediums, he might not have caught Gopi anyway. So he decided to roll the dice, had a crack at it, but didn't quite pay off. But Gopi there with just an outstanding performance. It was a faultless drive from him, and he executed perfection and was therefore able to get the win over Guy, which he'll be putting up in the pool room, I think, that race result there, because it's not often that Guy loses to the likes of us. So well done, Gopi, and he's my driver of the day, by the way.
Absolutely right. Yeah, the standings you're seeing, the results are not accurate. Unfortunately, these are not the right results for whatever reason. I'm not sure if we've been provided the wrong graphics today by our glorious admins at MotorMotion, but certainly they are not correct because Guy Barbara didn't finish in 4th. He was actually 2nd. We'll have a little look at the pro category.
I think that's the table. I think that's the totals for the series, George. They were.
No, it's not. No. Oh, yeah, it may well be actually. Yeah, which is not correct because they're supposed to be the results of the race. So I think the pro category standings will actually be the standings and not the results. So we'll get that all sorted out. They are actually the results. So Matt McCullum does finish in P1 for pro category, followed by Joyson, Glenn Mead, Scott Taylor somehow finished in 4th. So I don't think those are correct either. So not sure if we've got the right results and standings today. And we'll see what happens later on. Yeah, Stone was unfortunately disconnected at the end of the race as well, so shame there. But I completely agree. Gopi Mahidajit, what a race. Great execution of strategy. Key moment getting past Twitchy in lap 2 on the mediums. Let us know in chat who your driver of the day is, ladies and gentlemen. And we'll be back for Group B coverage in a few minutes' time. Hello and welcome back to the Player1 SimGear GT3 Championship. We're still digesting the battle that we've just had between Twitchy and Go from Hinogen. Great racing in Group A, and Spa always bringing some amazing racing. It's a great place to have a competition go, and of course round 5 here, brought to you of course by Trackspot TV. My name is George Cook, returning as the commentator for Group B, and beside me Andrew Scott also returning, and now he gets to commentate on a race that he hasn't actually been part of, which is always great. And we know that Group B is fire. We call it Group Best. Lovingly, and not with any critique of Group A, which has been setting a very high bar today in terms of the standard of racing that we're hoping for. So let's see if Group B is also going to be out there performing some magic out on track. Ando, what do you think?
Yeah, another cracker of a race coming up, folks. This Group B, I love it. There's always something out of left field that comes at us as commentators, and always a surprise just around the corner. Let's see what strategies happened in this race. We've already been surprised by one today, which was the one-stop softs, the soft Supra Strat. Let's see if anyone else comes up with maybe a two-stop strategy in this race. Let's see.
No, it's entirely possible. We shall see. Of course, the contenders at the moment for AM title: Jack Finch, Chip Berry, Troy Britnell, with Mark Hogan just out of the top 3. And then in the Pro-Am title, Mark Hasel1 with Joe Rudinsky, who's been super dominant in the season for Pro-Am so far. Marcel Albertin and Blake Williamson just sitting outside that top 3. Gonna see if any of them have got some legs today at Spa. It's gonna be an interesting one. Let's head to grid and get this race started. Here we go, and it is Mark Hasel1 on pole position from Joe Rudinsky. Gonna be fantastic, and we're away racing. Across the timing line we go. Green flags, green lights all over the track, and through the first corner we go. Eau Rouge and Radion. This is key. There's going to be a big gap, though, back to the other drivers, and that's obviously as a result of them never getting the La Source corner. So half the grid does get started behind there. So Ruzzy in at CP Motorsports, a late switch in. Ben Blaker returning to the grid. 13 drivers total. As we see Joe Rudinsky and Hasel1 going side by side, but it's inside line there for Mark Hasel1. Joe Rudinsky is going to try the switch back behind them. Boosted Blake. Calculator Risk is in there. Legendary Berry. Chip Berry falling to P6. Jack Finch wants to make an attack as well, the AM-class driver, who often finds himself in the wall on lap 1. So far, having a really good start in this race, probably keen to have a clean, quiet, calm race today in the number 11 for Hooncore B Sports, but up ahead of him, of course, Chip Berry going to prove to be a difficult driver to overtake, and Joe Rudinsky trying to bring the fight early to Hasel1. Looks like Booster Blake in the 747 car on hard tyres. Racing softs for Joe Rudinsky. And what is Hasel1 on? I think I saw a hard tyre. We'll check in a moment. It is the medium tyre, so an interesting split of strategies in the top 3 already. We've got medium softs and hards in the top 3.
Yeah, and here we go there. Hasel1's done well now to hold off Expat, who's running softs. And we're in that same scenario. Expat's going to have to clear Hasel1 here, otherwise his race is ruined. And down the field we go, and we've got yet another lovely mix of hards and medium tyres. So these cars are sorting themselves out. They are all over the back of each other, an inch away from disaster at all points in time, as we see there the NSX with a good run on the Supra, but the Supra's coming back at him with his straight line speed through Blanchimont, and it's not over yet. They're going to tip it in now to Blanchimont. He runs wide in the Supra. Oh, that's going to be a penalty, I think. And down into the bus stop, he maintains his position. But yeah, there he goes. He's got a paddling. And not only that, he's got dirty tyres. Couldn't pull the car up. Runs deep. He almost would have got reset there, George.
Yeah, indeed. And Dylan Scarborough also picking up a penalty as well. Robinson now all over the back of him. But yeah, that was a big moment there. For the Hooncorp driver, Jack Finch, not able to really pull up the car at all. And this is a real melee going on here, on melee, or melody, or whatever you want to call it at the moment. But it's chaos at the moment. Cars absolutely everywhere. And it is Marty McFadden. It's Dylan Scarborough back in the in one of the cars here. We'll keep an eye on him. Robinson, of course, for the RCZ, for Aster Racing. Yep, there we go. And they're side by side at the moment. Oh dear, at the back there. And it looks like the Nissan for GLR has managed to come out on top, as Ruzzy finds himself moving back down the field in the wrong direction at the moment. Dylan Scarborough has picked up a huge penalty there. 1 second on the clock for him, so not ideal at all. Blue Dog makes his way up to the back of the CP driver, and Dylan Scarborough going to be on the attack against Hogan, but it's going to be potentially not for a lot. And there we go. Joe Rudinsky has moved into P1 in this race. No real surprise given he's on the soft tyre.
Yeah, he made his move, got through. Now he's going to have to hopefully check out now and build a nice, good gap. And is he on the super strategy? Let's see. Or is he on a two-stop? We don't know. But what we do know is Hasel1's doing well. He's sticking within there. He's on the medium tyres. He's looking good. And Expat's going to have to make hay while the sun shines here and put in some really, really fast consistent laps.
Yeah, so it's essentially the opposite of what we saw. I mean, Hasel1 essentially executing the Gopi Mahindra strategy, but hasn't been able to stay ahead. But no hard tyre, of course, for Joe Rudinsky. So slightly different situation there. And he's going to need to be pulling a really good lap really, really soon. With the clean air, it's entirely possible. A few penalties still around the grid as we do cycle through the grid. Ben Blake has made up a position. Something is happening to Ruzzy. CP Motorsport's having a really bad time. He's on the soft tyre, but for some reason he's dropped right to the back of the grid and just going really, really slowly. So a late sub, I think, as I understand it, from CP Motorsports, and I love the colors of the car. Really nice livery there for him, but he'll have to find some pace on the racing soft tires. He was up in the mix, so I'm not sure what's happened to him early on in this race. He may have had some contact and just fallen behind, but of course the competition here in Group B very, very strong, as we do see the Aster Racing cars, the RCZs, taking some interesting lines through the final chicane. And it's going to be 2 by 2, the Aster Racing cars and then the Gridline Racing cars, all driving essentially together on track. Here goes Hogan, maybe. Note does decide better of it this time. He's on the racing medium tyre versus Robinson. So they may be getting some team orders at some point just to make sure that they're not going to be causing a situation, because Robinson is on the hard tyres whereas Hogan's on the medium. So these guys will have to be a little bit cautious, I think, Ando, about how they manage that. You don't want a hard tyre runner blocking the faster driver behind, especially in a team situation.
No, yeah, they're going to have to maybe do some swapsies here at some point, because even if that car behind is a lower division driver, his strategy is being compromised by his teammate there who's running the hards. So let's see if they do some team orders here, or a a dance move, and they might swap positions.
Team, yeah, so, just so we don't call it a team or a team dance move. Yeah, I like that.
They might orchestrate a move. That's what I was trying to get at.
Okay. Yeah, we'll see if the conductor of the orchestra is on point with what strategies are going on at Aster Racing. We're on board now with Robinson as he chases down Jack Finch ahead. Jack Finch looking for a much better result today. Marcel Alberton is third position in Pro-Am at the moment, so up in there in third overall as well. Troy Britnell doing very, very nicely at the minute. Of course, he is third position in the AM standings at the moment, and currently, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think he might well be leading our AM class at the minute on track. So for some reason, the NSX has come back alive. It, let's be honest, had a really dreadful start to the season. It was not suited for the tracks. It's hard. It's a hard car to get used to. And unfortunately for Troy Britnell, it's gone rather awry, especially at Le Mans, where it went all wrong and ended up sending himself and Jack Finch directly into the barrier at the first chicane on the long straight. So for some reason, the NSX is coming alive, and it might just be that familiarity, Ando. It takes a long time to get used to a car like that.
Yeah, it's a relatively sedate MR car, though, but it does have its strengths and weaknesses, and if you can't take advantage of the strengths, you do lose out with the weaknesses, because I think it does struggle a bit with straight line speed. As we see a GTR really out of shape there, out of the bus stop. His exit's been compromised, but we've got teammate on teammate again. They're sort of fumbling over each other, aren't they, these teammates? They need to sort it out soon so that they can both individually execute their separate strategies.
Well, it looks like they might be sorting it out sooner rather than later. Do you see Dylan Scarborough wanting to make the move past, but actually doesn't execute it, despite his M-Class teammate actually moving out of the way. So very interesting what's going on here. It might be just be that they're waiting for the straight to actually perform this, but of course Dylan Scarborough, with that penalty, is going to be slowing down towards the end of the lap regardless. Back up here for battle for fourth position, it is Chip Berry in the M-Class, and he's actually the leader of M-Class right now, so that's my mistake. Black Rose Racing currently in the lead, with Troy Britnell trying to hunt him down, finding a lot of pace at the moment in that NSX for Lightning Motorsport. Oh, dive to the inside there. Wants a little bit of a move. Clearly got the pace at the moment, much more than what Chip Berry is able to demonstrate out there on track. So the Porsche having all sorts of problems. It's MR versus MR, so you'd think it'd be pretty even Stevens, but Chip Berry not looking particularly comfortable in the Porsche right now.
No, he's just not been able to switch those tards on for some reason, or he's just a bit out of rhythm as he goes wide there at Puon again, and Brits is all over the back of him here. He wants to make a move, but there's just no real place to do so. And Legendary Berry just managed to keep it on track there, avoided running onto the AstroTurf, avoided a penalty. He maintains that track position, which is oh so crucial around here.
So crucial. Actually, Jack Finch had a little look there as the outside line was opted for by Troy Britnell to try and get past Chip Berry, and Jack Finch said, well, there's a gap, so I'm going to go for it. Didn't work out for him because the inside line, once you got a car on the outside into the entry of Fugnos, it turns into the inside rather rapidly, and he's actually lost time as a result of that, has Jack Finch, but he'll be well in this battle. So this is a three-way battle on track for the AM-class lead, excuse me, at the moment, and a good run through the final couple of corners for Troy Britnell. He's going to send it on the brakes. Has he get it slowed down? Has he given space? Yes, he has, and there's not going to be a lot that Chip Berry can do about that. Yep, there we go. It is fourth position now for Chip. For Chip, and actually looks like they're still side by side, and there's a good run out of the bus stop chicane for that man. Let me flick around between some of these camera views. There we go. It is Troy Britnell. Still behind, but he'll have a good opportunity on this straight. I'm not sure about the differences, Ando, between the Porsche and the NSX in terms of top speed. We just haven't seen a good comparison through the entire season. Now we are. And who's going to come out on top of this one? Well, slipstream is the advantage, so NSX should be making a pass here.
Yeah, can he make the move now? He pulls out into that wall of air down the Kemmel Straight, and he goes nowhere. So he's pulled back into the slipstream there. So the NSX suffering there with its straight line speed. Can he make a move up the inside? No, he can't. He's exercising caution there, but what a sequence of corners from these two drivers. What a battle. And you're absolutely right there, George. Out of the bus stop, he did not get the clean exit, and the Porsche went straight back past him down the pit straight, and he maintains that track position. So it's pretty clear that that NSX does have an overall lap pace advantage, but he's just got to figure out a way to get past. As we see through No Name there, the Porsche one's wide again. He's got to run on him, but it's not enough through Puon to make any sort of move. So he's getting a little bit frustrated here, Brits Lightning, but Troy Britnell should be able to do something here shortly. Let's hope he can.
Yeah, Troy Britnell looks like the car's behavior right now. He's able to actually attack the apex at the moment. So much understeer for the Porsche, and so into the braking zones and through the corners, that's where Troy Britnell really is going to have the advantage. So you'd think that in the inner field he'd be right there, but has fallen a little bit back this lap. Maybe just needs to reset and then go at it again. In the meantime, Hooncorp Esports 747 Boosted Blake is in a good position. Where is Joe Rudinsky ended up? Yeah, Expat has the fastest lap, but he was behind Hasel1, right behind. In fact, he was in front of Hasel1, but he's disappeared from the server. I think he may have had a disconnect, and we've lost essentially our championship leader, Joe Rudinsky. He's leading the Pro-Am title. He has gone from the server, and what a gutting situation that is for him. He was really in the box seat for this race, and we were fascinated to see if his soft tire strategy would work out, but he is gone, and we are down to 12 drivers in the lobby.
Yeah, that's a real shame. He's obviously, yes, has had a disconnect. And yes, he was on a different strategy to Hasel1. So Hasel1, who's had a few good performances lately, is really coming back at the championship. And this is going to help his cause no end. But it really is a shame for it to pan out this way. I would have much preferred to see them battling it out all the way to the checkered flag.
Oh, they would have had such a good end to this race as well, because there would have been, you know, less time on the hard tire for Hasel1 versus Joe Rudinsky, who would have had to pit halfway through this race or even beforehand. And it would have been a fascinating end of the race to see which one had the pace and the tires to actually stay ahead or keep up. Purple sector there for Troy Britnell. He's going quick through the Kemmel Straight, very quick in fact. 2:23.8 his last lap. Personal best 2:23.4, so he's still got pace, but in this battle at the moment, not able to really unleash the full power of the NSX. Aster Racing is just in behind, going side by side and then 2x2 into a lot of these corners, just keeping themselves honest. Yeah, nice to have a teammate that'll keep you honest. That's it's always worth having, I think, Ando.
Oh, indeed. There's nothing wrong with a bit of inter-team rivalry.
Yeah, that's right. We'll keep an eye, see if they end up coming to blows in this or not. Overall in this race, so Hasel1 leads from Boosted Blake from Calculated Risk. It's Marcel Albertin. And, a bit of contact back there. Jack Finch and Marty McFaddy had a bit of contact into the braking zone. Jack Finch has lost the positions in this to his competitors. And Dylan Scarborough, of course, in the Pro-Am category. And Jack Finch wanting to find his way back past. But these two really come to blows. And Jack Finch driving on the aggressive side at the moment, wanting to keep that position and force these drivers to be behind him. Obviously, he's got a lot of pace today in the Supra, and probably on the back of a lot of disappointing results. I mean, he was absolutely the fastest man in AM class for the first few races. It all just went sideways so quickly for him. I think he's in catch-up mode at the moment in terms of his mindset.
Yeah, they've got to be careful at Spa here not to overdrive these cars, because a mistake or a penalty's only inches away at every corner. So see there his timing boards, he's not really putting in consistent laps. And I think that might be his problem. He's having the old little unforced error here and there, which is hurting his race time.
Yeah, indeed. And correction there as well. Porsche, of course, RR car, so rear engine, rear wheel drive. A little correction for myself there. I always thought it was MR. I don't know what was in my head, but maybe I was just biased. Maybe I felt good in the Porsche and was like, oh, it feels like a McLaren. That wouldn't be a surprise, would it? Anyway, so RR car, of course, and that's also why it's so hard on its rear tires. So expect to see that, of course, on the Porsches today. They're going to be burning up their rear tires as they always do. Does explain a few things actually about when I was doing the Porsche Cup many years ago. Nonetheless, we continue, and Ruzzy has made his way back up to P10, but hasn't pitted yet on the racing soft tyres. 15 minutes so far on them, looking quite healthy. The rear's not so much, but overall, pretty even tyre wear on this. What do we reckon happened to him? There was a few laps. You can see that on his timing sheet. Lap 2 and lap 3, both 2:32s.
Yeah, I saw him going slow down the Kemmel Straight there, and Scotty, I think it was, just cruised past him quite easily. I think it might be equipment problem. He had equipment problem for a couple of laps there. That's all I can think of, George. And I think,
Yeah, it must be.
I don't know if you're getting your platforms mixed up, but I'm not sure there is an RR class in GT7, mate. In real life, obviously, we know the Porsches are rear-engine cars, but correct me if I'm wrong, I think they're classified MR in GT7.
Yeah, they may well be. I've just looked it up on one of the platforms that tracks some of this stuff, and I'll try and bring that back up if I can. On Gran Turismo Wiki, it says the 911 GT3 RS 992, which I think is the GR3 car for this. It does say it's rear-engined and rear-wheel drive. But I've always considered it an MR car, and when I've said that to other people, I've had agreement that it's MR. But I think maybe it's categorized as MR, but maybe it acts like an RR? I'm not sure.
Yeah, it behaves pretty well. They've changed the physics of these cars multiple times throughout the life of GT7, but currently at the moment it is still a fairly sedate car to drive. It drives like an MR, but they've all got their little unique features, even amongst the same class. So an MR car like a Lamborghini, for example, is going to handle completely different to a Porsche, even though they're both MR.
Yeah, I'm not surprised we don't see a Lamborghini out here on the track. It's such a beast to handle. So much power, a lot of rear end aggression. I think I'm recalling the Barcelona challenge, trying to get all gold on that, and the Lamborghini GR3 car. No thanks. Yeah, I think I spent about 17 hours trying to get that done. Memories that I wish I didn't have. Oh dear.
Yeah, there's no doubting that the FR cars are my favourite. They're the easier cars to master, I think, in this game, as we see Hasel1 there showing us exactly that. He's in the FR M6 BMW. He's cleared out. He's no longer got expat to worry about. So he's now doing some nice times there on the mediums, 2:19s. And he has got this race by the scruff of the neck, let's say. And I'd say he's going to hopefully get the win and put some real points on the board to challenge for that championship.
I think this will bring him right up into the lead. They were still relatively close. I mean, for every race that Joe Rudinsky won, Mark Hasel1 was, I think, P2 in nearly every single one. So he has been keeping hold of Joe Rudinsky's title championship standings. And Yeah, in this race with the DNF, obviously that's going to be a lot of points lost for Joe Rudinsky and also for Mad Turtle Racing. So bear in mind, this has got some big implications for the team's title as well. And with Hooncorp having some really good results, we've got Boosted Blake in second overall for Pro-Am right now. You've got Jack Finch still trying to get himself up into that top 3 for the AM class battle, but they'll get some really good points for this, and that might well send them forward, certainly to challenge Mad Turtle for the team's title. And it's always great to see these points start to come together a little bit at the half-season distance. Still got 5 races to go after this one in the season as we barrel through towards the December period. How quick has this year gone? It's been crazy.
Yeah, it's unbelievable to think the silly season just around the corner, and just having notification there of the track spot yearly Christmas party. I'm really looking forward to that, George. So hurry up and name the date, mate, so I can start preparing.
Yeah, it's just we're holding it at Budweiser balcony, just so you know. So we know the location,
Oh,
just
awesome.
don't know. Oh, the rave parties are too good there. We're not gonna skip out on that.
Oh,
Oh dear.
sounds like a plan. I love it.
Yeah, should
Shut
be
up
good
and take my
fun.
money.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, it's going to cost us a fair chunk of money. Anyway, we digress. Group B continues, and we are now 20 minutes into this race. 22.5 there, personal best set by Jack Finch. So he's on form at the moment, going through Eau Rouge and Radion, but a fair distance back. He hasn't pitted as yet. We'll see those all coming up at about 6 laps distance. Jack Finch looks like he may be saving a bit of fuel. Certainly, Ruzzy is saving a lot of fuel at the moment. Don't know if he's been in the pits. I don't think he has as yet. And right at the back of the grid, P12 is Blue Dog at the moment. He has come into the pits, though, so he's now on the medium tyre. So far, I haven't seen any indications, Ando, of a 2-stop strategy, except for maybe Blue Dog.
Yeah, Blue Dog there now on mediums with the best part of 12 laps to go. I don't know that his tyres are going to last that long, or his fuel, but we'll wait and see.
Actually, we've wait and see. Actually, Robinson, he has come into the pits by all accounts. He's on the racing soft tyre now, so that may be the first indication of a 2-stop race. He did pick up damage throughout the race, so we'll keep an eye on that as we do see quite the battle starting to evolve between Dylan Scarborough, that's Marty McFarty, and Hogues. AM class versus Pro Am, so we're expecting that Dylan Scarborough will be able to make it through as the rear end of the RCZ launches out onto the gravel, picks up a little bit of dirt, not ideal for his run through the next couple of corners. But on board now with Dylan Scarborough, and he's been mighty in this Nissan. Very, very good driver. Great to see him back on the grid as well with Gridline Racing. Would have expected him to be racing for Aster, but no longer.
Takes the Gopi Mahindajit line there out of Stabilo, so he's compromised his run, unfortunately, getting a bit of AstroTurf there on exit, but he tips it into Blanchimont there. He's got the run on the RCZ here. The RCZ defends to the inside as he should, and Dylan decides to be cautious yet again. Can he get a run out of the bus stop here?
Oh, nice attempt at the switchback, but very good driving from Hogan in the Aster, and does have the grip to make the second, or the first apex for sure. Well, nearly. Doesn't make either apex, to be completely honest with you, but was able to get the power down and holds on to 6 for now. Oh, there from Dylan Scarborough. It's interesting when you do go through the source like that, you've got to be so precise on the timing of the accelerator, because your car does not want to grip up at that point.
No, the track slightly drops away from you just when the power comes in on the engine, and you've got to be oh so careful. You can quite easily loop it and end up nosing into the wall on the right.
Yeah, exactly. It's it's a very tricky corner to navigate. Of course, you want to cut through it. You want to bounce the car underneath you, but the best drivers are actually able to predict that and put the power down just at the right moment. But there's a sweet spot for sure, just before you run, onto the exit curb as well, where you get the sausage curb. You don't want to be putting the power down on that because the car wants to bounce, it wants to slide, it wants to oversteer quite substantially, and you will find yourself in a barrier rather rapidly at that point of the circuit. Luckily for these drivers, though, no rain here at Spa today. It's been dry. It's been cold. It's been cloudy. So not great weather out there at the moment, but at the very least, it's not raining for these guys. We're not seeing changeable conditions out there, but I have to admit, those are my favorite Spa races. When it is mixed conditions, absolutely brilliant.
It is, and it's a special kind of driver that can be quick in those conditions, and I can tell you right now, that's not me. But anyway, horses for courses. I do endeavour at some point to get good at driving in the wet, but I'm not as good as the likes of Nick Patasso et al. At the moment in the wet. But yeah, makes for some interesting viewing, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. We'll have to get you in for one of my team races where we often find ourselves driving in the wet and we're slow in the dry, but we're fast in the wet. Don't know how that makes any sense. It doesn't really. Well, we qualify at the back of the grid because because we're lazy. We just want to have some fun out there on track. Those having fun at the moment, this group of three, for sure. Chip Berry in ahead in P5, then Hogan. So they've all caught back up to each other. We've got racing mediums at the moment, quite worn. For the Gridline Racing driver ahead of him, Hogan. I'm not sure what tyre he's on at the moment. It's the mediums as well, so they've been even Stevens, but a lot of fuel saving for GLR compared to the RCZ. And Legendary Berry is going to be overtaken here. Down the inside we go into La Source, and that's a fairly straightforward overtake there. But he's gone very deep indeed. And we're trying to figure out where these cars are at the moment on track. Yeah, it is, of course, Chip Berry who will retain that position because Hogan went very deep into the corner. Dylan Scarborough not able to take advantage of that at the moment. I'm not sure if you caught, Ando, what Chip Berry's tyres are at the moment, but he's becoming a bit of a cork in the bottle at the moment. May well be on the hard tyres currently in this race.
Yeah, he's definitely the slower car there, but Hogs just didn't quite execute there at La Source. Ran deep and just gifted the position back to the Porsche. And now they're right on each other again into Les Combes. Porsche is definitely struggling at this section of the track. And the very somewhat impatient RCZ behind him is soon running out of tyres. He's going to have to make a move soon. He stuffs it into Bruxelles, where we saw Twitchy at the end of the previous race make a bold move, and it looks like he's got it done there with the Porsche running wide this time.
Very nice, yeah, clean move, and that is how you do it into that downhill braking zone. So Hogs moves up into 4th overall. Now, Chip Berry is the target for Dylan Scarborough, so that was a change, of course, for the AM class. Troy Britnell still, I think he's still in 3rd position, so still leading. So that was a change for 2nd position in the AM class. So guess who's catching up to this pack at the moment? It's Jack Finch. So right now he's 4th in AM class in terms of the current grid. He is going to be potential for getting past here. Wow, switchback maneuver. It's bold. It's very elbows out, but Dylan Scarborough has absolutely sent it and made the move stick. Great stuff from him. Pretty impatient, but hey, that's racing. That's a good move.
Yeah, very good surprise move there. It was, in the most part, clean, but that Porsche is really struggling, George. It really is frustrating any car that comes up behind it because he's really down on pace at the moment. So understandable that Marty McFarty would make a risky move like that into Stavelo, but it was, sexy move there. I love it. I like it.
Yep, elbows out. We always appreciate that, and we forgive it a little bit more in Group B as well because we expect to see some spicy racing, that is for sure, and certainly no disappointment today. At the moment, Hasel1 in the pit, 6 litres of fuel. He'll be changing the hard tyres and going to the end. We're 26 minutes in, and calculated risk, Marcel Albertin decides to stay out for another couple of laps, as does Dylan Scarborough. In the meantime, Troy Britnell in. He'll be switching to the faster compounded tyres for this next stint. Probably a medium, but we'll see. May opt for the softs. It'd be a risky move. And then, of course, Hogan as well coming in on the racing medium. So the fuel starting to run out for these guys out there on track. Dylan Scarborough, probably the best on fuel at the moment out of the grid. Mark Hasel1, former race leader by some distance as well, comes out of the pits. Looks like he'll file out in about 7th or 8th position. If he's got clean air, which it looks like he may well do, then he should be on for a good run to the end of this race. Hard tyres as expected, full fuel, so he is going for the end. And the one-stop strategy, again, seems to be the optimal strategy. I'm not surprised. Everyone has made the sensible decision. Less pit stops equals faster overall race time.
Yeah, it does, even though the hard tyres are a bit of a handful around here and they are significantly slower. They do last perfectly, and if you can master them, as we saw Guy Barbara do in Lobby A, you can still be relatively quick in them. So that 28 to 30 second pit stop is just not worth doing in order to stay on the softer compound. It's better to just do long stints on hards than mediums or vice versa. That generally turns out to be the way to go. And let's see who can take it to Hasel1 now, George. I don't know if there's anyone. Let's have a look and see if there might be someone that's switched onto the mediums now and might be able to make some inroads, because Hasel1's now on the hards. He's got a full tank of fuel, and he's got to do 10 laps or so on the hards, keep it clean, keep his nose clean and try and stay out of trouble in order to bring home the win here. There might be someone close enough to maybe challenge him, but not sure at this stage.
Yeah, I think the only person in that situation may be Boosted Blake. He's having a clean race himself, has filed out of the pits past just behind Hasel1. He's on the racing medium tyre, so did start on the hard tyre from what I recall. He's underfueled the car a little bit, but that's fair enough. You can get away with that, certainly in the Supra. Got plenty of top end, plenty of speed and pace through the corners, so shouldn't be an issue. Where is Hasel1 on track? I think he's just coming through the back straight, but what is the gap here? It's like a 20-second gap at the moment. I don't know if the medium tyres are going to have the pace, and let's see. It's been 219s, 222s, so probably averaging 221, 222 for Hasel1 on the medium tyre. So if Booster Blake is able to put in some 19s, he's really in the spot to do this. But again, oh sorry, 219s there actually on the medium tyre for Hasel1. So he'll need to actually, yeah. I think Booster Blake's going to really have to be setting fastest laps here if he's got any chance of catching up to Hasel1. He's got to make up 20 seconds on track.
Yeah, but you know, a mistake from Hasel1 could bring it all back into play. So he's got to just push and do what he can. And this could well be Hasel1's race to lose here, but it's not a foregone conclusion at all, because on the hards there, these guys in Lobby B are known. We've seen already some really big mistakes come from them. We've seen cars get damaged. We've seen cars coming together, and we've seen some really slow pace out there by hard runners. So can Hasel1 turn on or switch on his tyres here? Can he keep it clean? Can he bring it home?
Indeed, and interestingly, Marcel Albertin has stayed out. So he's extending his hard stint, and he'll be probably looking for a soft stint at the end. So it's entirely possible that this Porsche is going to become an absolute weapon at the end of this race and put in some really, really good laps. He's a significant distance down, even without the with the extra pit stop that he will do, I'm sure, either this lap or next. But there's a possibility here. He may be on for a P2. He may be able to take that away from Booster Blake. Jack Finch has also stayed out on the racing hards, likely going with the Hooncorp strategy today of switching to the softs, but he's picked up a penalty. Not going to do him any favors. Was fourth in the AM class in this race before the pit stop started happening. And now we'll have to find a way to start to shrug off these penalties and not get them as much, because it's starting to really hurt him in terms of the race. And whether he's able to challenge for a third position or even a second in what's a very close battle for the AM class podium today is going to be coming down to his consistency out on track.
Yeah, it's getting important, isn't it, these points now? We're getting to the back half of the season, and these championships will be won or lost in the coming races. And I'm just looking at their timing boards, though. These cars that have stayed out, I'm not sure their recent lap pace is enough to make a dent in the cars that were initially leading this race, i.e. Hasel1. So I think he's still pretty comfortable, but these alternate strategies and these cars that are about to switch onto the softs, at least the minor podium places might be still up for grabs.
Certainly, yeah. Second and third in the Pro-Am class, and then AM class, actually, the entire top of the podium is up for grabs. We'll keep an eye. Where is our AM class leader at the moment? Is that going to be Legendary Berry, I think? Robinson is Pro-Am, from what I understand. So I think this is where our AM class title lead. Yes, it is. So it's Chip Berry from Troy Britnell. Medium tyres for Chip Berry. What's Britnell on? I think he's on the hards. No, he's on the mediums as well. So this is an even Stevens battle between the two. Pure pace and the Porsche and NSX battle will be raging on for the next 18 minutes towards the end of this race. This is absolutely key. Troy Britnell could be staring down his first win in the AM class for this season. And what a title drive that'll give him in the standings, because he's right there, especially after some of the shenanigans that we've had earlier in the season. Troy Britnell has still been holding on very nicely in the point standings, and this will be a great haul of points for him. But he won't want Chip Berry ahead of him when the checkered flag falls.
No, he spent a lot of time tucked up under the rear spoiler of the car in front this race, hasn't he, George? As he goes purple there, I think, in Sector 1. But yeah, he's just got to make those moves stick and not spend so much time stuck behind the car in front. But there's no denying his pace in that NSX today is good. He's kept it consistent too. and he's making gains on the Porsche in front of him here through Sector 2.
Yes, and the irony in this situation, of course, now is that Dylan Scarborough, who was running faster than these guys all the way through, I think he's on the hard tyres now, has now become a cork and a bit of a kingmaker in the battle for the AM class lead in this race. So a bit awkward there for him. He's now he's gone past these two, and now he's unfortunately probably going to be falling back behind them. And now really the question is, can Chip Berry make a clean move? That'd be a really good situation for him because Marty is got no obligation to move out the way of Troy Britnell when he reaches the rear bumper of the gridline racing car. So will there be a move here? No, there's not at the moment. Sensible driving by these two, but Troy Britnell probably just needs to be a little bit more decisive with when he goes for it. I think that's a tricky thing to train in terms of racecraft, probably one of the hardest things. Here we go. Chip Berry going to be making the move as Dylan Scarborough doesn't have a great run onto the back straight. It's going to be a fairly easy overtake. The question is going to be how long will it take Troy Britnell to retake the position? Actually, Dylan is fighting this hard at the moment. Nearly runs the Porsche off the track. Wowee. That is scary stuff. Was it a penalty? Did I just see a penalty for Chip Berry? We'll keep an eye. We're on the rear spoiler. It is. So he's been run off track. He's picked up a penalty. I said that it might be a kingmaker situation. Marty McFardy's got it all wrong at the bus stop chicane, whilst potentially crowning a victor in AM class by holding on through the final couple of corners. That was a big moment in this race for AM class.
Oh, he really did Troy Britnell some favours there, didn't he? He was holding up Chip Berry through the second sector, and then and he runs him wide at Blanchimont, gets it all wrong into the bus stop, so it all ended up being naught for him. But the net result now is that we've got an NSX right under the rear wing of the car in front once again, but the car in front crucially has a penalty to serve, and it looks like the NSX, though, Brits Lightning making a move anyway into Lake Hom, and poor old legendary Berry there is now stuck there on the hard tyre, which the Porsche is not enjoying today, folks. He's got a penalty and he's just been overtaken by his rival. So, yeah, poor old Marty there getting in the way a little bit of the Porsche. But once, as you said there was no blue flags. It was for actual track position. So he's not obliged to do anyone any favours there, and he battled well. But unfortunately got it all messed up in the bus stop there.
Exactly right. Well, we'll see what happens with the NSX. Can Troy Britnell build that gap that he will inevitably get after the penalty is served? And yeah, there's still a possibility for a battle between the two. Both of them on medium tyres, so they're even Stevens in terms of their end game pace today. Looking here at Boosted Blake for Hooncorp Esports. Racing medium tyres. Has he made the progress on Hasel1 that he needs to? No. He's running in the 20.7. So he's, a second a lap faster at the moment. But you can see the distance on track. The track map top right at the moment, you can see the red car. That's who we're on board with, Mark Hasel1. And you can see the next blue car is Boosted Blake on the circuit. So there is some distance there. He will reach La Source just as Boosted Blake is coming through the final part of the chicane. So arguably 10 to 12 seconds. We don't have that many laps, so it's going to have to be more than a second a lap he's gaining. In behind here, racing soft tyres for Robinson. He'll be coming into the pits, I'm sure, this lap. Yes, he is. So that will elevate both Troy Britnell and Chip Berry back up into those top fourth and fifth position. Robinson will fall down the order by some distance at the end of this race. He was the only one, Ando, to execute the two-stopper today. This is showing exactly why it's not been favoured.
Yeah, he's going to really suffer now, and it's always worth considering, and you're always, as a racer, wanting to be on that soft tyre, aren't you, to be on the quicker tyre, but it's just not worth it around here at Spa.
Yeah, exactly. The tyre wear is massive. Medium to high-speed corners, we all know it'll chew up the tyres very, very quickly. And if you get yourself into some spins or anything like that, it will really start to affect your pace. Oh, Ruzzy has run very, very deep there, but has somehow, I was about to say, somehow avoided a penalty. No, he hasn't.
No, he got the memo, but yeah, that Ferrari doesn't look happy today. I'd say he's having some sort of equipment trouble, and his lap time's not great at all. Yeah, commiserations to Ruzzy, although kudos to him for sticking it out.
Absolutely. It's one thing that we do not force, that's the wrong word, but we definitely appreciate when drivers are able to stay in. Despite the result, you're still out there racing, you're still driving in amongst great drivers. It's the same thing with an endurance. I always say this at the end of an endurance race. No matter where you finish in an enduro, you are a winner by finishing the race, and that's as bigger accolade as the big trophies are at the top. Maybe some of the aliens will disagree. Hogue moves onto the inside, only just exactly 1 millimeter left there by Ruzzy, so very good spatial awareness by the two of them, and actually defends the position very nicely. So some great driving from the Ferrari driver here to defend against the RCZ. There may be another move down the hill we go. No, there isn't. Is it a wide line taken by the CP Motorsports driver? No, he cuts back beautifully. So actually some really great driving between these two in P11, P12.
Yeah, really good, respectful driving there as the Ferrari driver, Ruzzy, he's not here just to make up the numbers. He's still wanting to race today. And we see the RCZ, though, get a better exit out of No Name, and that makes it a simple move into Pouon there. Tips it in beautifully on the medium tyre, holding much better corner speed through Pouon. And he's now clear of the Ferrari, and he'll probably be able to drive away from him now. But yeah, good sequence of corners there with the two cars side by side for a long time. Hogue's very respectful there with giving the Ferrari some room on the outside of Les Combes there where there's marbles, and yeah, impressive.
Very much so, and of course I think Hogan at this point is also on the two-stop strategy. So Aster Racing putting both their cars onto that strategy, and it's not looking great. There's a slowdown. What on earth has just happened there? There was a slowdown for Robinson. He must have had a penalty. Hogan has gone right to the back of him, brought Ruzzy back into the mix. So this is a wild battle. It's not for any significant position in the points, although a top 10 is potentially on the cards here for any one of these three drivers.
No, he's all right. I thought he might have been the one to run wide at Blanchimont there, but no, he just ran into the back of his teammate, didn't he? Who I think must have been serving a penalty or something. Then that knocked the wind out of him, and Ruzzy just cruised past him again.
Yeah. And then there's the move again. Ruzzy's gone very, very deep, though, unfortunately. There's a very good intention.
Oh, where'd he go?
Spun. There we go. Yeah, well, once you go wide, don't put the power down.
That wall. He was facing that wall, then I thought he was for sure going to go smack into it and get some raw.
Executed some good car control. He's not got the pace, but he's got the car control. We can give him that for sure.
Yeah, what a catch.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. Penalty as well for Boosted Blake. So the drivers at the end of this race, 15 minutes at Spa, no easy thing to do. It's another penalty, unfortunately, for him. Actually, I think it might be his first of the race. Had been putting some good lap times in and making some good progress, but that has completely ruined all the previous laps of progress. And really, at this point, P1, P2 is over. And that is the situation we are in. Only Marcel Albertin may be able to catch up. Where is Calculated Risk? P3 relative to Boosted Blake. He is right behind him.
Yeah.
And potentially on for a P2. This is exactly what you were predicting. There was someone, potentially going to be on the faster tyre. Well, it is Marcel Albertin. And for Black Rose Racing, they may be on for a P2 finish here today.
Yeah, and if you're in the Supra like Boosted Blake is on the harder tyre, the last thing you want is a penalty. That's just inviting your opponent into your slipstream. And that looks to be the case here with the Porsche very, very close to the slipstream of the Supra now.
Oof, this is going to get tight because the Supra is not great through the infield section. Very difficult car to get turned in properly and get slowed down, whereas the Porsche will be alive in that section. The advantage, of course, goes to the Supra on the straights, where it will have the advantage. And this is the key thing for Marcel Albertin here. If he can find his way into that slipstream, put in some really good laps, if he can dive into the 19s, he's been close. Last lap was a 2:20.6. I think it was a 22 for Boosted Blake. There was a 23.4. So there you go. Plus the penalty and running a bit slower on track. Right now, even those other laps on lap 16, 15, 21.0, 21.4. So he is running nearly a second slower a lap than Marcel Albertin. He's going to have to do a lot to hold on. This is smelling a lot like a Gopi Twitchy situation at the moment, but with slightly harder compounds of tyres between the two. Taking a little look at where Chip Berry's ended up, he's fallen right off the back. So there is almost no way he's catching up with Troy Brunel unless there's a mistake. This is a battle between Finch and Dylan. Dylan, of course, has fallen now behind Jack Finch. He's on the faster tyre at the end of this race, as I understand it. So Jack Finch trying to find his way back up. I think he actually is now in a podium position for AM class, but with a penalty on the soft tyres for the last 7 minutes of the race. So, correct me if I'm wrong, Endo. I think at the moment, Jack Finch on for a podium finish in AM class. That's good points.
Yeah, I think he's resurrected his race here, and he's on the soft tyre now, which looks good to the end of the race. So he'll be quick, and yeah, he'll probably be able to pick up some points. But I'll tell you what, it's on for P2 now. I'll tell you what's happened. They're both on medium tyres, but calculated risk in the car behind in the Porsche has got much better mediums. He's got much fresher tyres than his opponent. So the Supra there a little bit hard on its front tyres there, and it may be paying the price now as we see Legendary Berry. I think he is in the slip of the Supra now ahead, which he's going to need to be because he's going to be down on top end speed here as we go down the Kemmel Straight. But I think it's going to be on here. This is going to be a battle royale now for 2 or 3 laps.
Fantastic. So we've got a battle for the podium in both AM class and in Pro Am class. This is exactly what we were hoping for. 2:20.9 the last lap there for Marcel Albertin. Keep an eye, of course, on Legendary Berry and Troy Britnell, who are right behind this battle and getting relatively close on track. But we'll keep an eye on the battle we're on right now. Good run down the Kemmel Straight, and it's a personal best yet again for Marcel Albertin. Troy Britnell, Booster Blake. Yeah, he's just struggling. At the end of the day, it's the tyre life difference, as you alluded to there, Ando. He's not got that grip, and Marcel Albertin is just able to push and push and push at this stage. And you can see the nature of the car right now, the Supra running wide, deep, trying to find a way to sort of even out the corners and the angles that he needs to be at, but not the same could be said about calculated risk. So actually a bit of distance here between Troy Britnell and Legendary Berry. So I'm not sure. 21.3 there for Troy Britnell. What's Legendary Berry's last lap? It's a 21.9. So he's still falling behind at this stage. And I don't know, there may not be enough time left in this race. Only 5 minutes to go on lap 19. I'm thinking probably 21 laps for this race.
I'd say so, George. And yeah, interesting, isn't it, that Boosted Blake there in the Supra, he's just lent on his fronts too much at the start of his stint, and now those mediums are really giving up on him. And that Porsche there behind him, not liking the hard tyres around here, the Porsche, but it seems to be loving the mediums. And
Yeah.
Calculated Risk is driving the wheels off it. He's really doing well. So I think it's only a matter of time. Just going to have to size him up again, though, and make this a clean pass if he can at some point around this track.
Well, look how close he's gotten through the bus stop chicane. It's a really good drive through there. Great attacking of the curbs by the Porsche driver and getting the power down just at the right moment. Talk about these little areas that are perfect for doing that, and he's absolutely nailing it. So locked in is Marcel Albertin. He can see a P2 finish in Pro-Am right ahead of him, and he's in the slip now. We barrel down the hill towards the start of Eau Rouge and up the hill towards Raidillon. And look, Boosted Blake Williamson knows what's coming his way, wants to break that slipstream early. Goes onto the alternative line through here, but doesn't take nearly as much curb, so doesn't get a good run out across the top of the hill on the Kemmel Straight. He is a sitting duck right now, but yeah, the superpower. Look, he's not gaining at all. It's hardly any gain whatsoever for the Porsche. Pulls out into the wall of air, sets a purple lap. We do see Jack Finch has now taken the fastest lap of the race away from Joe Rudinsky, who's disconnected, unfortunately, was on for potential win. This might have been a battle between these three, or certainly Hasel1 may have been this could have been the final podium position here had Joe Rudinsky stayed. Wide entry line, down the hill we go, and that's given Boosted Blake just a little bit of breathing room that he needs oh so much. But Ando, I mean, that was pretty spectacular on board down the Kemmel Straight. Really no slipstream advantage for the Porsche at all.
No, it's really down on top speed, and the Supra just loves that Kemmel Straight. Slightly uphill the whole way. It really gets to stretch its legs. They're both completely flat through the Eau Rouge Raidillon section. So it's effectively one really, really long uphill straight. And the Porsche just suffering there. He's going to have to size him up and pick another spot on the track to make his move. But just the fact that he could stay in the slip there gave him that purple sector. So he's enjoying that slipstream for now, but can he make it work for him? We'll have to wait and see.
We will indeed. We are on the penultimate lap of this race, looking at the timer there, 47 minutes and 43 seconds. So once these guys reach the line, they will have Only one lap to do, and I think that'll be the same to be said for Hasel1. Maybe we can just find out quickly where he's at. Hasel1 is just coming across the line in a few moments' time. Yeah, it'll be his last lap as well. So this will be the final lap of the race in a couple of seconds as we tick over to that. Should show up at some point that it is the final lap. But 21 laps in this race. Hasel1 unchallenged after an unfortunate disconnect from Joe Rudinsky. We'll keep an eye. I think the battle for P2 is really where we're going to be at for the rest of this race. Because these guys are going for it, and there's a chance for Marcel Albertin into La Source. Will he take it? No. They are now dicing for position. This is the best opportunity that Marcel Albertin has had, but he's caught up to the back of the Supra way too early. They're going to be side by side, potentially too wide into Eau Rouge and Radion. Oh my goodness, here we go. We're actually going to see it. No. Smart move there from Albertin. Slips in behind the Supra, and it will be an attempt down the straight, but he's pulled out again very early.
He's run into a mountain of air now. It's a straight drag race to Les Combes, and the Porsche had such a good run there through Eau Rouge, but he could not make it work because it just didn't have the straight line speed. So he's going to have to try something creative here. He's too close to him, is he? He can't quite get something done. He can get something done here, though.
Whoa.
We're going down into Bruxelles. What a lovely sequence of corners, and he's made it. He's made it work, George.
He has alternative lines all the way through from the entry of Les Combes. He got out of it, he got wide, he got right in there and forced the boosted Blake to be offline and then dive down the inside, and there's nothing you can do into the downhill section if you're boosted Blake in that situation. That's a fantastic overtake by Marcel Albertin to take P2 away after being separated by nothing on track for so many laps, both on the medium tyres. But I tell you, the Porsche has come alive on the mediums, and he's got a great bit of advantage, great bit of racing by the both of them. And that is going to be, I think, the final lap of this race. Yeah, we are 10 seconds away from the timer being ticked over. Legendary Berry not able to catch up to Troy Britnell. Jack Finch will pick up an AM class third position and 6th overall as well. Last couple of corners. What do we even say about Mark Hasel1? I probably don't want to hand the mic to you since he is your team boss, but I'm sure you are happy right now because that is another accolade going straight to Hasel1, and he will take P1 in round 5 at Spa in the Pro-Am class and overall. Big haul of points for him today.
Yeah, lovely drive, well executed. And here we have calculated risk. Dare I say it, a lovely calculated risk he took to make that surprise move on the last lap. Takes P2 from boosted Blake. Good drive for him in P3. But yeah, calculated risk. It wasn't a given that he was going to get that P2. Even though he had such a significant tyre advantage, he had to get creative with his choice of where to make his move. And that is exactly what he did. What a great effort that is, as we see Legendary Berry here in the other Porsche coming in for P5.
Well, and Troy Britnell, first win of the season in AM class. What an absolutely brilliant drive for Lightning Motorsport today. Takes the AM class win as well, and that is a huge points haul for him as well in this race. 4th overall. Great drive from the AM classes today. Really, really great to see that out on track, and big congratulations to Troy Britnell for the victory today. That is absolutely excellent. Right, well, we'll head back to our final screen, and that is going to be your Group B race today. Well, Spa has provided, as it always does, whether it's Spa Francorchamps or an actual jacuzzi. Nonetheless, it has provided today, that is for sure. Group B, absolutely brilliant racing in both the Pro-Am and AM categories. Came right to the wire at the end of this race. Lots of different strategies, but everyone, almost everyone, opting for that one stopper, and it was great. Let's talk driver of the day.
Yeah, some great drives today. Hasel1 with that awesome P1 finish and a clean race, definitely worth a mention. But my driver of the day is going to go for the sexiest move, and that move on the last lap in order to snatch P2 away was, I think, the nicest move of the day. So my driver of the day is going to go to P2. It was, forgive me if I'm
Marcel.
wrong, Marcel calculated risk in the Porsche. Yeah, he didn't have the speed down the straight. He had a job to do there. It was a real challenge to how is he going to get past this bloody Supra? It's so fast. But he figured out a way, and I think he might have planned it, George. So my driver of the day definitely goes to calculated risk.
I'll give him a new name, calculated second, by the sounds of it. I completely agree. Hasel1, great race, but unchallenged really, so just had to drive away with it. And close one for Blake Williamson, nearly held on, but just didn't have the pace at the end of the race. Marcel Albertin, great racing there, but I'm going to give an honourable mention to Marcel Albertin, really good, but Troy Britnell's going to get my driver of the day today. What a fantastic race. He was in a real scrap, a real melee in that 4th position, but ended up, taking that win. Really, really good for his championship hopes in AM class, and on the back of a few disappointing results in the NSX, that is a real good way to bounce back. So let us know in chat who your driver of the day is, and we'll try and calculate who ends up getting that overall. A massive thanks, of course, to our primary sponsor, Player1 Sim Gear. Go and check them out on p1simgear.com.au for all your sim needs, whether it's flying, whether it's driving, whether it is mowing the lawns, which turns out is a real simulator these days, or farming, in fact. So for all your needs, go and check them out, Player1 Sim Gear. And of course, broadcasting today brought to you by TrackSpot TV. Check us out on www.trackspot.tv, proudly broadcasting partners with MotorMotion E-Series. And of course, MotorMotion E-Series, go and check them out on www.motormotioneseries.wordpress.com for all your news and articles and updates on how this GT3 championship is progressing. That, ladies and gentlemen, is round 5, both Group A and Group B coverage at Spa-Francorchamps, and that is halfway distance in Season 3. Next time out, we'll be going to round 6, and it is Interlagos. Short, sharp, not a lot of straight there. Going to be a lot of cars that suffer, a lot of cars that have an advantage. It's a special race as well. We'll talk to you more about that in the next broadcast. Then, of course, Watkins Glen, Daytona, Autopolis, and, of course, Mount Panorama to finish things out. Andrew, final word from yourself before we round out the stream.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, viewers, and thanks again to yourself and John on the tools there in the broadcasting booth. Good job today. Really enjoyed the racing around here at Spa, and I'm looking forward to next round. That special round, being a sprint round format's going to possibly throw a spanner in the works for some drivers. So that'll be exciting to see.
Well, indeed. Thank you very much. And of course, I've been George Cook, leading you through today's broadcasting, joined by Andrew Scott and John Wright on the tools as well. So a big thank you from all of us here in the commentary box. Take care, stay safe out there. We'll see you next time for round 6. Until then, it's bye-bye.